Jeez. I'm so sorry. I'm so embarrassed. I'm just having my lunch. I'm so hungry. I've got pizza, got a banana here. I'm so sorry. This is my next episode of Every Rock Has a Story, and I've got a really big appetite. I do. I've got a really, really big appetite today. Do you want to see it? It's right here. Oh, did you think I meant a hungry appetite like hungry? No. I mean, this mineral is apatite. Let me show you a little bit closer. This rock is a pegmatite. I've told you about pegmatite before. I'll tell you more in a second, but it's got huge mineral crystals. That's a giant crystal of feldspar. There's some giant shiny mica crystals, but this thing right here, that great big green thing, that is a big, big apatite crystal. I told you I had a big apatite today, and this is it. That's a huge, giant apatite. I'm going to tell you about apatite as our rock of the day. So this mineral, that green mineral, is called apatite. It has a different spelling than appetite like you're hungry. Apatite is a very important mineral, and it often forms in this kind of rock that I mentioned is called Pegmatite. So Pegmatite is the name of this igneous rock that cools from magmas with giant crystals. And apatite is the green mineral that you sometimes find in a pegmatite. Now, what's special about pegmatites like this, they are igneous rocks, so they cool and crystallize from molten magma, but it's a special magma. It's colder than most magmas. It's waterier than most magmas, so it can grow great big crystals, and it has unusual chemicals inside, like the most important ingredient in apatite, which is phosphate. Phosphate. Apatite is calcium phosphate and a little bit of water. Calcium phosphate is very important to life. In fact, if you do have a big appetite, if you're hungry, you know what you might need to eat? Teeth. Teeth are made out of apatite and a little bit of protein to glue it all together just right. You know what else is made of apatite, calcium phosphate? Your bones. My skull. Your bones are made of apatite with a different type of protein to shape them all and glue all that apatite together. So it's a very important bio-mineral, a mineral that humans make in their bones, in their teeth. Have your parents ever told you, drink your milk, it's good for your bones. You need calcium, it's good for your bones and your teeth. That's because you need calcium to make apatite. The other interesting thing about the mineral apatite, and when you're hungry and you have a big appetite you want to eat, is all that food. And when we think about food like this yummy pizza or even my banana, it turns out apatite, the mineral, has something to do with making this food. Have you ever heard of fertilizer? Fertilizer. Fertilizer is something that we put down on the fields and on our crops to help make things grow. Fertilizer has three main ingredients, and I brought a little pack of fertilizer. This stuff is called Miracle Grow because if you put this down, it just makes things grow like crazy. But if you look on the back label, you can always read the ingredients. You might not be able to see, but it has three main parts: nitrogen, phosphate, and potash, which stands for potassium. Those three ingredients are in fertilizer, and we need to put that on our fields to make things grow. And where we get the phosphate in fertilizer is from apatite. Not always in pegmatites like this, there are also sedimentary rocks in the ocean that have rich layers, rich in apatite phosphate that we mine too. I brought some other samples of phosphate, apatite rather, that I want to show you a little bit closer up. These have a really pretty green color. You can really see that green. And they also have shiny crystal faces. If you look at that one, can you count how many sides it has? You should count 6 sides. And this one too, if I show it just right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. These are crystals of apatite that have 6 sides, and they grow into long prisms, we call them. Very, very beautiful. These also came from pegmatites. But all that phosphorus goes into fertilizer. We mine a lot of apatite to get phosphate for fertilizer to grow our food. Even this pizza, the pizza crust, made out of wheat mostly. And to make that wheat grow in the fields, we have to add fertilizer made out of apatite. The tomato sauce, all those tomatoes have to grow tomato plants in tomato farms. We add fertilizer made out of apatite to grow the tomatoes. Even the cheese, now we don't grow cheese, do we? But where does it come from? It's milk from cows. And what do you think the cows get fed with? Hay, grass. And we use fertilizer to grow those hays and grasses as well sometimes. So to make our food, to feed all the people on the planet, especially people with huge appetites, we need a lot of mineral apatite. So we mine a lot of this. Now, it's interesting, some scientists have been studying how much phosphate resource is on our planet, how much apatite there is available. And some people have suggested that within 100 years, we could start running out of that phosphate resource. And if we run out of phosphate resource, we can run out of fertilizer. And if we run out of fertilizer, we might not be able to grow enough food to feed all the people of the world. I wonder if maybe my appetite's a little bit too big. Maybe this is too much food for one person to be eating. There's another thing about fertilizer and phosphate fertilizer made out of apatite. Sometimes people think if I put out lots and lots of fertilizer, it's really going to make the crops grow super fast. And it kind of does. But sometimes people put down too much. And a lot of that fertilizer doesn't go into the fields. It runs off into the streams and ultimately into our coasts and into the oceans. And that fertilizer, when too much of it gets into the ocean, it actually poisons the ocean. It causes a condition called eutrophication. Too much nitrogen, too much phosphate, and it can kill the fish and the wildlife living in the ocean. Apatite, phosphate, we have to be very careful with this. We need to mine it for our food, to get our calcium for our teeth and our bones. But if we put down too much, it can poison the oceans and create other problems. We have to be very careful with how we use our phosphate and our food. So, I hope you like this story of a big apatite, the mineral apatite. And if you don't mind, I'm going to go back to my lunch, but I think I'll just have maybe one piece of pizza and that banana. Bye-bye.